Good morning, good afternoon, sports fans. Welcome to the Immigrant Mentality Podcast.
Hey, you
I'm
nailed
your
that one.
I'm your OG Seabrooks, and we've got hit the real Reese Davis with us.
I am the real Reese Davis. Don't accept any imitations.
Is there a few
I'm
out
the only
there?
one. Well, there might be. I haven't found any that are pretending to be me yet, but I'm sure they'll come.
You build it, they will follow.
That's got to be a strange existence, right? You see these accounts that are fake parody accounts of other people.
Oh yeah,
Like, what's the mindset of the person who sets up that account?
yeah. It's strange, like the Elon Musk one. Oh man,
I'm not familiar with that one.
I think that one might be like up there in popularity, but definitely on Twitter, the parody Elon Musk one.
Now, obviously, it's an easy way to get a bit of clout, right? Because people see the
Oh
name
yeah,
and maybe take it seriously from the start versus if it was a name they didn't know. But
right.
that's a strange world, isn't it? A parody account. I
Yeah, I
understand
don't know.
it.
I'm not a fan.
I I understand it if it's satirical, if it's making fun of someone. But
Yeah,
I don't know, it's a strange one.
yeah.
Is my is my hat causing a shadow on my face?
A
A little bit.
slight shadow when you look down, but
Is it a problem? I have to
nothing
keep my
crazy.
chin up the whole time. But then people
Like
can't
you
see
have to
my
keep your chin
rad
up. But
hat.
yeah, it's a good looking hat. But yeah, you'll have to keep your chin up over the Wales France game that you just went to.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't have a lot of hope before going, but and you know what? The first half was fairly even, but we scored a couple of tries that we really had no business scoring. They just kind of fell to us, or a lucky break, and that kept the scoreboard really tight. But when you actually look at the game and how it went, we were never really in it. We took our
Yeah,
chances when they came, but France were easily the better team, and it showed towards the end. Like every time they came into our half, they it felt like they were scoring. Like I don't think France were
yeah,
particularly good either. I think we were just really, really bad.
yeah. It's a tricky one, right?
Have you watched
But
much of the Six
the
Nations this
atmosphere.
year?
A little bit. I watched. What was just yesterday? Yesterday, Ireland, England. Man, that was a game.
England beat Ireland.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
That was unexpected. It's been a strange Six Nations. I mean,
Yeah,
England beat Ireland, but Scotland
yeah.
beat
But then Scotland lost
England.
again, so that just puts them down.
Scotland lost to Italy. Italy drew with France.
Yeah,
France lost heavily to Ireland. Like it's a strange. It's hard to predict. My working theory for this current Six Nations is that all the teams are shit,
yeah. But
and if all the teams are
someone's
shit,
gonna
then
win, and I don't.
any shit
Anyone,
can beat
yeah.
any shit any day. Apart from Wales, who are the shittest right now and can't win anything.
That should be a Rickyism. Any shit can beat any shit any day.
Maybe we should put that on a t-shirt. I'll tell
Yeah,
you
that's a
what though,
t-shirt.
it was a strange atmosphere there today as well. Wales
Yeah,
against
how was the
France, and
atmosphere?
don't get me wrong, there were a lot of French people there, It was a large away support, but it almost felt like a home game for France. It
Oh,
was,
whoa, that's weird.
yeah. It's been a while since I was at a a Wales rugby game at home, but I definitely remember there being a better atmosphere than there was there today. I don't know if that's just because the results haven't been great, but
Right.
it felt a little bit flat, to be honest.
Yeah. How much were the tickets?
Well, I I had a ticket given to me.
What? Ooh, yeah. That's that good game.
Um, yeah, but the tickets aren't cheap. I don't know what the
Nah.
lowest level is, but they're not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not crazy that a lot of people for not amazing seats are paying 70, 80, 90, £100.
Yeah. That's what I thought. And it must be
You
even
know
more
that's
for like a team like Ireland or maybe even
yeah.
England or something, right?
I think the pricing is the same for all of the Six Nations, but
Oh, okay.
the tickets I had were really good. Um, but the cheap seats aren't exactly cheap.
No, yeah. Yeah, when
It's
I was planning on coming
it's
to Ireland, I was planning on going over to Ireland and then watching the week 5 Ireland Scotland game, but I was scared as fuck for just to buy like tickets from scalpers, just knowing how much it could possibly be. It'd be fucking expensive, especially in British pounds or euro.
yeah. I mean for the exchange rate, it's killer for you. But yeah, I mean
Oh yeah,
£100 for a sports game. It's
that's
crazy,
fine.
isn't it? I mean it's but that's a lot of money for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You know, if I don't know how it's gotten so expensive. Well, I mean, obviously it's gotten so expensive. That's why there's so much money in sports these days.
yeah.
But
Uh, i in October, I went to see 2 NBA games, and I caught Lakers Magic. Oh, no, Clippers Magic, which is not a marquee game by any stretch. But I paid like I think it was 150 US, and I was borderline like on courtside, like it was crazy. And then
yeah,
the next game was Lakers Clippers, same stadium, like not the best seats, but still pretty good, kind of like angled behind the backboard. But because LeBron and AD are playing, like all the superstars against the Clippers, prices just went through the roof. It was like 500 Canadian for like a ticket that was worse than like close to the floor. So unlike Six
I
Nations where yeah it's fucking sick, but professional like the professional leagues in America, that shit could get real expensive.
this is gonna sound quite bougie of me, but I don't really pay for sports tickets anymore. I
Ooh,
I only really go when I'm given tickets for free, and
that is
and
very
it's not
bougie of you.
and and it's not that's not from a position of I shouldn't have to pay for things. It's that I don't really care enough to pay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I mean,
I've gotten to a
I
point
wish I
where,
could live that lifestyle. I wouldn't
well,
say
I
no to
mean,
that.
yeah, I don't go to games very often, right? So that's why. But I've just found that as I've aged, sports and things like live events like sports or theatre or music just mean less and less to me. So I don't really enjoy the idea of paying large amounts of money to see something that I could see for free.
Man, you just mentioned live music, and it kind of like took me back a bit because I was like, I need live music. There's something really positive and good about live music. Go and see a rock concert, or fuck, you'd go see Florida Georgia Line. Like it's fucking awesome. Go to the Stampede. You'd do that.
Yeah,
Go
but I
see some
probably I
live
probably
some
wouldn't.
live music. It's fun.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to just go and see Florida Georgia Line, but I probably wouldn't want to pay to go and see them. I would be probably more content sitting at home watching them on a live stream on the TV with some friends at home.
That's very different. That's very
I've
different,
I've
man.
gotten I've gotten quite boring recently. I would way rather be at home with good people than go out in
But
general.
that's nice. But that's good.
It is nice. I agree. I'm quite happy about it. I would rather cook a really nice meal at home than go out for an expensive meal.
Mm,
But then I'm like an all-star
fair
chef
enough.
as well, so and humble.
You have great conversations with yourself at the dinner
Yeah,
table. Just
yeah. I mean, I'm.
just you
You
and
and I are professional speakers.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we get paid for it.
I don't know. I mean, contrary to this episode so far and how this has gone, we are pretty good at talking normally. Shall we get into some more serious matters?
Fire away.
Well, I was hoping that you'd have something.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to talk serious because you're normally the king of serious, but we are like-minded individuals. 15-minute cities are starting to pop up, starting to be a thing.
What do you know about 15-minute cities?
15-minute cities were created by a gentleman that goes by the name of. Dun, 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 where is it? Hold on, sports fans.
This is incredible content that we're providing.
Incredible. I had it. A Franco Colombian professor, Carlos Marino, had this vision plan to create these 15-minute cities where you could do everything from go to the grocery store, get medical assistance, go to a park, go to a movie theater, and you can do all this within 15 minutes of driving to each spot. And that's a 15-minute city.
So the idea is that all of the amenities and necessities that you might need are within 15 minutes of you, whether that's driving or walking or transit in any 15
Yeah,
minute direction.
yeah. I think driving is not included in that. I think it's literally either biking, like pedaling, or walking or jogging, running, whatever you do on your feet, but skateboarding to get to these places.
So the utopian vision is that you never need to leave your 15-minute city because everything you would ever need is inside of those walls.
Correct.
That sounds like a great idea,
I mean,
doesn't it?
if you had, or if you had, like, if you were living in an area, you'd have all these amenities at your fingertips, right? You'd have all these tools from your house, and you'd never have to go anywhere else. So yeah, why wouldn't it be a great idea?
Well, that's the good question. Now, the argument against, when I say argument, we're dipping our toes back into conspiracy theories here.
You can't talk about this subject without the conspiracy theory name being brought up. The conspiracy theory
So
title.
the the argument is that 15-minute cities sound like a good idea in practice. They sound like a good idea in theory, that everything is in reach and you don't need to leave your bubble. But the argument against them is that when society is set up in that way, it can then so easily be turned into you cannot leave your 15-minute city.
Right, or you can leave it, but your digital identity, your digital accounts, banking accounts, you might be taxed a little bit more for going to the next 15-minute city. You might be fined for going out of your 15-minute city area. You might have these kind of limitations attached to it leaving that 15-minute city area.
Yes, so what that means is that only rich people can leave their 15-minute city.
Correct. It would
Right?
also define the difference between middle class and lower class or the poorer class by business levels.
Are you familiar with the London ultra low emission zone?
No.
It's commonly referred to as ULEZ. Basically, all of London is covered in this ultra low emission zone. And it basically means if you drive a car that is considered to be polluting, it's basically all old cars and
Right.
performance cars that are new. You have to pay a daily fee of £12.50 to drive it in London.
Whoa. Crazy.
Now, the argument for this is that if you want to drive a heavily polluting car, you have to pay. You have to pay a tax that is then gone to,
Yeah.
towards net zero projects. But you have to pay if your car doesn't meet the standards. Now, selfishly, I'm all for the ULEZ because I think it does make the air in London cleaner, and I cycle in London, so
Yeah.
I don't mind that. But here's why we should be against it in general: is that it's a tax on poor people
Right.
because
Yeah.
the if you are poor, you might only be able to afford an old car.
Yeah. Yeah. And your
So
job might be in London, right?
yeah, I mean, you have to. If you live in central London, you probably don't use a car. But if you live in outer London, there's a good chance you drive a
Right.
car, and you need that car for work or your business or whatever. And if you're poor, then you might not be able to afford to buy a new car or an electric car. So your 2005 Ford Mondeo is now deemed to be too polluting, and you have to pay every time you want to use it. It's £12.50 a day. I mean, that adds up if you're using it five
Yeah.
days a week.
Yeah. You'd have to include that into like your yearly budget.
Well,
That's wild.
it's the idea is that
Your daily budget.
it will push people towards buying newer cars that are less emitting or electric cars as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how is that related to 15-minute cities? Well, okay. So to enforce this, they have cameras all over London, and they track
Yeah.
the number plates of the vehicles, and they know if you've been driving there. This is how 15-minute cities will work as well. In the dystopian future where your travel is restricted to your 15-minute cities, these kinds of cameras will track you using facial recognition to see if you're in your zone, in a permitted zone or not.
Yeah. It's very Black Mirror, isn't it?
Yeah, your digital currency won't work outside of your 15-minute city if they don't want you to use it.
Yeah. Or you get a fine. Here's a $50 fine because you were out of your zone for 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is again why we need to fight against digital currency. CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, they will be the first step in allowing 15-minute cities to become dystopian and tyrannical. Because if you can exactly control where and when people spend their money, then you can enforce people to stay inside their 15-minute city.
And then abolish cash as well.
Well, exactly. If everyone uses cash, then you can't stop them from going outside of their 15-minute city. There's nothing to keep them from wandering over there. But if you make it that they don't have any money outside of that 15-minute city, then you can make people do whatever you want.
Yeah. Man. Deep and dark, just as
The,
always.
there's a huge war on cars in general.
Yeah.
I mean, a car is radical freedom.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
You drive a truck, and if you wanted to today, you could get in it and drive for hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
That's an unprecedented level of freedom. There's no time in history that we've been able to just do that so quickly, to just go. And I think that's if you want to control the population, that's a scary thought that they can just go unimpeded.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. I like driving too.
What do you
Can't just drive around 15 minutes from space to space.
Well, do you think as well, with the push towards electric cars, it's so much easier to restrict how far someone drives for a start, because
Yeah.
you're much more limited by the distance you can travel on one charge. Because when you run out of charge, you have to stop for a little while. It's not hours, but it's a little while. It's longer than 2 minutes to fill up a tank.
Yeah.
And you necessarily can be tracked where you go and do this.
Yeah, because it's all electric.
It's all electric. I'm sure when you plug that charger into your car, they know exactly who has used that charger. Because you just think how radical this is in terms of freedom. You have a petrol powered car, you can drive it for 500 miles, then walk into a garage, pay with cash for petrol, put it in the car, and drive off again.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. It's awesome. But maybe there could be like a greener approach, and electricity says it's greener, but then you also have the construction of the lithium batteries and everything like that. So it's hard to talk. It's hard to talk about what's more green.
Well, what I've thought is that on a city scale, electric cars are cleaner
Yeah,
because they don't have the emissions at the tailpipe. But on a world scale, it's probably just about even.
yeah,
On a scale of the whole world, there's probably just as much emission and pollution from making a battery car that over its whole lifetime as there would be from a petrol car.
yeah,
But it's all
yeah.
posturing,
I mean,
isn't it? It's all a fugazi. It's all a game of look how good and progressive we are. It's like what's going on with the farmers, right?
yeah,
This is something that's happening in Wales right now. Is we've had farmers pushing back against the government plans for net zero, and the basic idea of what the government are trying to do is to get farmers to plant trees on about 25% of their land, which basically means
okay,
they have 25% less land to be able to grow food.
yeah,
This is
sure,
all in the interests of net zero and trying to reduce emissions. But what that fails to address is that Welsh farmers could plant the trees and then Wales would be, or then Wales could be net zero, but then the food just has to be imported from somewhere else.
yeah. Then that's just
And
that, that,
because the Welsh government doesn't then have to count that as their carbon emissions, they can then say, "Oh, we're net zero. Look how good we are." But they haven't changed a
yeah,
fucking thing. They've just moved the carbon somewhere else.
yeah, yeah. That makes no sense at all.
This is like recycling, right? When recycling gets shipped off to China and we say, "Oh, look how much recycling that we've done," and then the Chinese just burn it. Oh, the net result is still
Yeah,
shit. But we then pat ourselves on the back and say, "Look how good and clean we are. We've just recycled all of this." That's all bullshit.
yeah,
It's all bullshit. It's like Canada buying oil or gas from other countries, right?
yeah,
Justin Trudeau will go on and say, "Oh, we're committed to our carbon targets, and hence we won't build more pipelines in Canada." But then we'll go and buy oil from Saudi Arabia. So you're not reducing the amount of oil you're using. You're just reducing the amount you're producing so that you don't emit more carbon, but you're buying it from somewhere else.
yeah. It's fucking strange, man.
That's so hypocritical. It's all just posturing. It's all just look at how good I am. Sickening. Do you know many farmers?
No, no, I don't know personally. No, I don't. But we have a farmers market come through, and we have a nice guy that has his own bison and cattle, and I like to buy from that because it's pretty flavorful, pretty good.
You didn't grow up with any farmers. You didn't go to school with any farmers.
Um, fuck me. Now you're making me think. No, no.
Because I like farmers in general, but we have to recognize that they are built different.
Yeah,
They're
I,
not really
honest.
civilians, are they? They're in a different category, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Up early every morning, to bed late every day.
Did you ever play rugby against some farmers?
No, but a bit of footy against a couple of the bush leagues, and yeah, they're hard. They're hard as fuck.
Dude, playing rugby against farmers is a whole other level of playing because they don't look strong, but the way they manhandle
Yeah, but
people is just on another level.
yeah, because they've been fucking just manual labor day in day out. Like
Yeah, these guys are throwing sheep around, lifting bales of hay. An 80-kilo person is nothing for them. They just maul you
yeah,
like a bear.
it just dawned on me. I do know a farmer, and I've known him quite well actually, and he's a dairy farmer. Yeah, yeah, but he's like pretty
Anything
ripped.
interesting about
He's
him?
not really as like he's not really big, but he's just more ripped. I haven't
Just
talked to him in a
shredded.
while actually. Now I think about it. Yeah, he's just shredded though, like in the gut, like visible six pack. It's like, do you go to the gyms? Like, I don't have time for the gym.
Yeah, who doesn't need it? I only know
Yeah,
one farmer. I only know one farmer. I haven't spoken to him in a long, long time. He's a huge racist.
that's not good.
I could say some
That's not
funny
good at
things
all.
about him, but it wouldn't be very, probably wouldn't come across very nicely. But
Yeah,
farmers are interesting, right? And I think that that we need food. That sounds like an obvious thing to say, but we can't operate a society without food. Like nothing is more important than producing food.
yeah,
And it just seems to me that making farmers' jobs more difficult just seems counterproductive. And it makes me think that there's something else going on here that we would. I can't see what the profit is in making it harder to produce food for your country. So why would governments be actively making it harder and more costly to produce good quality food? Like that should be addressed. What is the purpose of that?
yeah. Ho- Man, hopefully it has nothing to do with those fake meat steaks grown in labs. Because that's the important thing about eating good food is the nutritional value in that food. I don't know about these. I don't know about these lab designed items.
I can tell you that that's all bullshit. There's no way that that's. I know what you're talking about. Use the lab grown meat that is
Yeah,
and that's different to things like Beyond Burger and stuff like that.
right.
These these are but it's just as bad. There's no way that it can be good for you. Look, the arrogance that we have in thinking that we can create things like this. That living organisms are so unbelievably complex. The sheer arrogance that we think we can recreate that without there being massive downsides. is staggering.
Yeah, it's
Like
fucking weird, man.
the nutrition is simple. I think if you just eat real food,
Yeah,
you'll be okay. And I
yeah.
think here's a here's an idea about and then the question is, what is real food? Well,
Whole food,
yeah. Well, here's the question: is bread whole food?
not processed food. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
good ass bread, like
here's
sourdough
the
bread
thing.
made in your oven, flour, water. That's it. Not Wonder White.
But then that is still your good sourdough bread is still processed food.
Right, but you made it. There's no sugar.
Correct. Correct. And I think that that's even a steak is processed food.
Yeah,
When you cut
but
it
it's
off the cow and then cook it, that's processing. So we can never escape processed food, but it's the ultra processed food that we need to cut out completely because that's all shit.
okay. Then yes, yes. So something like bologna or fucking fries from McDonald's or
Are you familiar with
fucking
Eddie
list.
Abu?
No.
Okay, you need to check this guy out. He's an English guy on Instagram. I think he's got about 3 million followers. And
Oh, Eddie. Eddie.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
campaigning basically to get people to eat real food and to stop eating shit. And he uses the word shit all the time. He basically goes into supermarkets and points at shit and says, "Guys, this is shit. Wake the fuck up." He
Yeah,
is
yeah, I have seen him actually. Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh,
He's hilarious, but
I
it's
think
so
I
true.
first saw him. I think I first saw him on Sean Baker's one where he has the split screen and Sean's eating like a steak and then he looks over at him and he's like that's good.
Yeah, he's class, and I mean he's in great shape as well. He's an older guy, ex
Oh
bodybuilding
yeah,
guy, and his message is simple: just eat real food.
yeah.
And I mean, it's clearly resonating because the guy's got 3 million followers, which I think is more than the fitness chef. I still think
Would you
that
say
the
the
fitness
fitness chef
chef.
is your nemesis?
I okay. I wouldn't say that the fitness chef is my nemesis because I've never met him. But I think he's. I think the fitness chef is full of shit. You've seen his posts. He basically argues that it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you stay in a calorie deficit. And I think he's missing the mark on in a huge way there. I think that's
Yeah,
misleading advice to give to people. Uh, at best, it's stupid. At worst, it's malevolent and a really horrible thing to say to people. The idea that you can just eat shit all day, but as long as you are below 2,000 calories, you'll be fine. It's so obviously not true. It's so obviously
well,
a terrible idea.
you
I
can
can't stand that kind of
always
bullshit.
lose weight. No, I know, but like the calorie deficit thing is like, yes, you can always lose weight in a calorie deficit. The issue is that if you're not having whole nutritious foods, well, you're probably going to be losing muscle as well. And muscle
Yeah,
weighs
but it's
heavier than
it's more
fat.
than that.
So if you're in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight regardless. But what you're putting in to do that, the 2,000 calories, you could choose a medium Big Mac meal with fries and a Coke, or you could get a 300 gram strip loin, a whole bunch of fruit, like shitloads of fruit, and I don't know what else do you need, but you could have all that, and it's way more nutrient dense, and you have way more food in you. You don't feel hungry.
Yeah, but okay,
Calorie deficit as well.
here's the thing is
You
that
go.
okay, you lose weight obviously if your calorie output is greater than your calorie input. Seems logical.
Correct.
But what we fail to recognize is that the human body is like a supercomputer, and it requires a lot of minerals and acids and just elements for it to run properly. It doesn't
Right.
just require energy. It doesn't just require fat, carbohydrates, and protein. It requires such a broad spectrum. The reason why we can't make fake food that's actually good for you is because it's so complex. If you took a steak or a piece of broccoli, you can say, oh, it has this many grams of sugar, this many grams of fat, this many grams of protein. The people then at Beyond Meat will say, well, we can replicate that with other things. But what they miss out on is the complete micronutrient content that actually makes it what it is. We've evolved to eat real food. We've not evolved to eat a balance of macros. We've evolved to eat a broad range of micronutrients in their natural form.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For sure.
to say that just eat cookies but stay below this much, you're not
Yeah.
you're
It's
not
it's
properly
it's fucking crazy.
fueling yourself, right? We don't just need
No,
energy
you'll
to
be.
move, but your cells need energy from in different forms to do the
Yeah.
millions and billions of processes that they do every second to keep you alive in a healthy state.
I 100% agree with that.
So the fitness chef is a charlatan at best. If
Yeah.
it comes
You
down to
can't.
it,
You
Team
can't.
Eddie
Yeah.
versus
You
Team
can't.
Fitness Chef, I know which side I'm on.
Yeah. I'm going Team Eddie for sure.
Here's the thing: I would love to talk to the fitness chef and just hear what he's got to say,
Yeah.
because I think that he's trying to give people advice, but I think he's just seriously misguided on this.
Do you think it's like, as we started the conversation with the parody kind of, do you think it's a bit of a farce? Do you think it's a bit of a play, like just
No, no,
producing
I
content
don't
kind
think
of thing?
so. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he genuinely thinks it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he
Then
genuinely thinks it.
you can
I think that
in moderation, the 80-20 rule or 90-10 rule, 90% of the time you eat fucking clean, or 80% of the time you eat clean, and that 20% or 10% of dicking up, like a couple of cookies or a fucking scoop of ice cream, that would just help you along your goals of like weight loss or fitness, right? The 80-20. But you can't say, you definitely cannot say eat cookies and you'll lose weight if you stay under 20 cookies a day.
well, you can because it might work, but it might. I think that the side effects of that
Yeah,
outweigh the
that's not good.
potential positives. Maybe like it's just I don't know. I mean nutrition is such a an overcomplicated field. The problem is with nutrition is that if say if you're Nestle, well, let's not say Nestle.
Yeah.
Let's say if you work for a food company and you
Okay.
sponsor a clinical trial to see if there's a correlation between saturated fat and cancer, for example. And then that trial finds a correlation. You can skew data to make something correlate. And then once you have that correlation, you can just say, we've put less saturated fat in this product, therefore it's healthy.
Yeah.
Right?
But then
How
it's
often
not.
do you go, it's not. No, I mean, this is a made up situation, but how,
Yeah.
the you go to a supermarket and it says on the packet less than 100 calories. That's only because they've made the portion size smaller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's you know I don't eat cereal, but on a box
No,
of
neither.
cereal, I mean, cereal is the peasant food.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I mean, do you see the CEO of Kellogg's came out last week and said if families are having a hard time putting food on the table, they should eat cereal for dinner.
It's insane. Absolutely
What a
insane.
fucking clown world we live in. Can you believe that? I mean, that's gross on so many levels, right? First of all, he says, what a way of pushing in, eat more of my product. And second, the language they use is disgusting. He he says things like, if families are feeling the pressure. Well, you know
Yeah,
what
that's
that
fucking
means.
weird.
If feeling the pressure means can't afford food.
Yeah. Dude. That's not cool, man.
How poor do you have to be to not be able to afford to put meat on the table? That's pretty poor.
Yeah.
And he's going on TV saying how great an option cereal is instead of meat. Meat on the table. Never mind. Have cereal instead.
Oh man, that's so bad.
Clown world we live in. Hmm. Are you excited to
It's a
eat the
bit of a
bugs?
simulate. It's a bit definitely not. It's a bit of a simulation, isn't it? The simulation theory is always interesting now. Everyone will pop up, start saying they're living in the Matrix.
Well, we've covered the Matrix before, haven't we?
I don't know.
I think we did.
Have we?
We talked about how the directors of the Matrix are now women.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
No, I was going to say though about. I lost my train of thought. Oh, the bugs, the bugs.
Eating bugs. Yeah.
So that's the new thing, right? Is the we're being desensitized towards bug eating slowly and slowly, trying to normalize
That's
the
a bit of a
idea that
stretch.
we. Well, that's exactly it, right? Your proof, your exact proof of this, right? Think about this. I just told you about eating the bugs, and you're not there yet, right? But you've
No.
you've heard about. you've heard about the bug eating potentially coming up. That might have to be a long term, more sustainable way to to provide protein for the masses. But you're not there yet. It hasn't
Uh,
reached. You haven't. So
no,
you still need more time to be told to eat the bugs. Eat the bugs. Can I tell you something?
uh, yeah, go.
I will never eat bugs in my entire life.
I ate
Okay?
bugs in Thailand.
Listen, listen. I'm wearing a hat that says Boston on it, right? It says established 1630. Well, in Boston is where the is basically where America started. When the Boston Tea Party threw all the tea into the ocean and said "fuck the British," right? That they stood up for something and they said, "We're done with this. We're not listening to you anymore." The moment someone tries to tell me you can't have that ribeye, you have to eat bugs instead, I'll murder them. I don't care. That's the line for me. I will not eat bugs. I won't do it for any amount of money. There's no amount of money. There's nothing you could give me that would be worth eating bugs.
I ate tarantulas. I ate tarantulas and scorpions in Thailand.
Yeah, there's a difference between trying a local delicacy. Do you know why? Do you know why they eat bugs in Southeast Asia?
I don't know, because they're tasty.
No, because they had terrible communist policies that led to no farmers, so they had to eat bugs, otherwise they would starve to death.
Yeah, that's not good.
Have you heard of Pol Pot?
Yes.
Killed about 50 million people, all farmers included, and that's why they had to eat bugs there. Because it was either that or starve to death.
Fuck.
So
You go
I
you go deep down the rabbit holes, don't you?
listen. No, that's. I think that's out there. That's not particularly unknown. But I'm not eating bugs. Listen, that's my Braveheart moment. I'll stand at the front of an army of against anyone who's trying to make me eat fucking bugs. You know why I won't eat
So when do you
bugs?
think the bug? Why?
Because it's not human food. We're not supposed
Yeah.
to eat bugs. We're not designed to eat bugs. I'm not going to eat the bugs.
So when do you think? So when do you think the bug eating starts?
Okay, what's my prediction? So, okay, war on farmers has started. So,
Okay.
so farmers in the West start producing less and less food, especially meat, because that's what they say is what causes global warming, if you believe in that. So, as less and less meat is grown, is available, more and more propaganda about how eating the bugs is a good idea. Like you said, is already out there, but no one's ready to eat the bugs yet. But when you're told a million times that eating the bugs is okay, eventually you might crack. You might think, oh well, I've seen this person eating the bugs, it's probably okay. When the fitness chef starts saying you should eat the bugs,
That's it. We're out.
People might start eating the bugs. Look, here's the thing. You can make a case for bugs in that they are full of protein and, on a macronutrient level, they might be a good sell. But you and I know that we don't want to eat bugs because they're disgusting and they're not food for us.
Yeah, I want to eat the good stuff. I don't want to eat bugs.
Right?
I ate
Bugs,
bugs in Thailand for fun.
yes, it was a novelty. It was a novelty,
Novelty.
right? I drank a mint tea when I went to Morocco, but I don't want to drink mint tea every fucking day. Same as I don't want to eat bugs
Yeah.
every day. And I wouldn't even eat them if I went to Thailand. If I went to Thailand, I'd say I'd have a ribeye steak, please. And if they didn't have one, I'd go to the next place. I'm not eating bugs, all right? So if you're from
Get
the
it,
World
bro. You're not
Economic
eating
Forum,
bugs. Fuck.
so if you're from the World Economic Forum and you think you're going to get me to eat the bugs, you can eat my ass.
Oh no, dude.
I'm not eating bugs, all right? Listen, that is literally where I draw the line.
Wait, so you think it's coming in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 in our lifetime?
Well, here's the thing. I think things are moving so quickly that I think by during our lifetime, you and I might not eat bugs, but I think that during our lifetime, we'll see people eating bugs.
Crazy.
And here's how I think it'll start. I think it'll be marketed as flour, first of all. I think that they'll start by bug flours and bug pastes.
Yeah.
So if you grind up a bunch of bugs and make a flour out of them, I think that's where it will start.
Yeah, like
Because I think
you
that
look at the
that's
back of your craft dinner. You look at the back of your craft dinner and it says like fat, sugar, protein, and then down below it's like protein. 25% of the protein was sourced by caterpillars.
yeah, some shit like that, right? I mean, if you're smart, you won't be eating craft dinner to begin with. I had this.
Whatever gets the bugs down.
Listen, don't joke about it, right? Because this is fucking serious. They're coming for you, and they're coming for you with bugs, and they're going to make you eat bugs. And if you're not mentally prepared for the fight, you'll end up eating bugs.
Yeah, I don't want to eat bugs.
So say that to yourself about 100 times a day. Right? Every time,
And then I'll be
put
in
it like
the
this,
same I'll be in the same mindset as you.
every time you go to the gym, every time you go running, every time you go swimming, every time you're doing something really hard physically, in your mind you should be thinking, I'm not going to eat the bugs. Because that's
Okay.
what you're training
Like
for.
a heart.
That's what you're training
Okay.
to have the strength mentally and physically to resist eating the bugs. That's just about the most important thing that you could do.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you, it's going to come, and there'll be a time where you'll look back and think, shit, I'm glad I was ready to not eat the bugs. Because
Okay.
you know that it will be cheap. They'll be dirt cheap. They'll make such a convincing moral and economic argument to eat the bugs that most people will go along with it and just eat the bugs without thinking about it.
Do you lay awake in bed often?
Yes and no. Um, when I lie awake in bed, it's mostly because I drank too much coffee in a day, uh, and
Oh yeah,
or if I didn't train hard enough that day.
yeah. Because you're supplying nightmare fuel, right?
Yeah, you could. I mean, here's the thing: if this stuff is what's better, what's better is knowing about this stuff before it happens better than thinking you know about it and it never happened. No, sorry, I got that wrong. Would you rather know about it and it never happened, or not know about it and it did happen?
Yeah, no, the first one.
There's a war going on that most people don't see and don't even realize. And
Go on.
the bug thing will come in when we're deemed ready for it. They'll
Dude.
test us, right? They'll test us, keep testing us, and see, probe and see reactions and see what we're ready for. And the bug thing will come. This is why.
Man.
This is why you have to stand with the farmers. Because if you don't stand with the farmers now, you'll be eating the bugs in 20 years.
I think we got a new t shirt idea. Don't eat the bugs.
Don't eat the bugs. What could be more important than making sure you get good food?
Yeah.
What could
You
actually
really
be
take
a
it for
more
granted.
important thing to spend your money on than quality food?
More important thing. Yeah. Because it makes you happy and it makes you do things.
Yeah,
When you
you
eat
could
good
go even
ass food,
further.
it makes you fucking happy.
You could go even further and say that it's a large part of your entire reason for existing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, but
You know, and
you
that's
know,
kind of the
when
same
you
as what
eat.
you said. But
Yeah, but you know when you eat a Big Mac, you're like, oh, that was awesome for a few minutes. But you know when you eat a ribeye, you're like, oh, that's the shit.
let me tell you
And
what eating
you're
shit
not
food is
hungry.
like. I think I've got an analogy, right? If you eat garbage food all the time, imagine going out and buying a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And you know, for the Ferrari to perform, you have to put good fuel in it. Fuel that it was designed to consume.
That 98, that premium good.
Good petrol, all right? But imagine if you decided that because it was cheaper, you were just going to put melted chocolate in the tank instead.
Yeah.
Imagine that because it was a little bit easier and cheaper, instead of putting the good petrol in your Ferrari, you just put boogers in there.
Yeah, she wouldn't go too far on boogers, mate.
Imagine you bought a Ferrari and you knew you had to put really good fuel in there for it to work as it should. But you decided to save money and because it was just easier and more available, you were just going to put Coca Cola in there and see if it ran on that. And that's literally what people do to their own bodies. And that shows you how amazing the human body is that people abuse their bodies for year after year after year, feeding it full of shit, and it still finds a way to function. Maybe not at its optimum, but it still finds a way to function and still keeps going.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
It's truly incredible. And it's just a shame that we don't appreciate it. So you can keep the bugs. I'm not eating them. I'm going to stick to ribeyes. Thank you.
Rib buys.
I think that's a good way to end.
Yeah, I'm fucking hungry now.
Thank you for watching, sports fans.
It's been a pleasure.
As always, Boston.